Mullen CEO David Michery, in a podcast on 18th November, discussed his plan for taking the stock back to $1. So, is the stock a buy? Sit tight as we answer that by going through his statement as well as my chart analysis and price prediction. But before we do that, subscribe to our channel Stox 101 for regular stock market updates. First up, David said that the ELMS acquisition deal worth $120 million will be completed before the end of this month, and if this is true, it will give the company a valuation boost along with better fundamentals, forcing some sellers to close their positions, and as a result, a slight squeeze might push the price up in the near future. The host then asked him how he aims to get the stock price back above the $1 level, to which he replied by delivering on my promises. He also hinted at a pile of great news which will be announced over the next few weeks. And since Michery was long criticized for being all talk and no work, he said his focus has been shifted to delivering instead of talking. With all that in mind, let's analyze the charts. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1-day chart for MULN, and as always, we'll first analyze the 1-day chart, then the 1-hour chart, and to end it off, we'll get to the 5-minute chart. But right off the bat, we can see that my prediction for Monday seems to have failed. Right, I had predicted that we would probably get a green candle on Monday, considering that we got an entire red week. Right, we got a week that was straight up, just going down, going down, going down, and that's why I was expecting somewhat of a gap up and for the day to end in green. But as you guys can see, we still have 6 hours for the day to end until the day ends, and we're already down to the support over here around the low that we made at 26 cents, and we've been having some tough time crossing this level. And if we cross it, my past prediction would probably come true, right, that I gave you guys in my weekly analysis last week around Saturday, I believe, or Sunday. Right, I told you guys that the stock would probably come down to a level of around this range, right, around 20 cents, at least under 25 cents. That's what I was expecting. And as you guys can see, we're currently battling the 26-cent support. And of course, once we break this, the next level, 25 cents, right, and then straight up, we'll be back to those levels where you can buy the stock and expect better returns. But of course, if we talk about the FUD as well, that's being spread on YouTube and other social media platforms, right? We did see the podcast that recently went live with David Michery in it, where he talked about a lot of things about Mullen's future. And of course, he did say a few things that were troublesome, right? From the part where he said that in voting rights, or rather, for the decisions that required voting, he would just cast votes for the 1.3 billion shares, right? The dilution part, the 1.3 billion to 5 billion share part. So that probably was a bit problematic. It just showed that I won't say he was bossing around, but it just showed some sort of a dominant vibe, and right, that probably was the reason behind this fall, along with the fact that the entire EV market is down today. NIO is down by almost 6%, Rivian down by 1.1%, Tesla 3.3%, and Lucid also about 5%. So that's, of course, not a good thing for the market. But as you guys already can see over here, right, we're bound to get a green candle very soon, right? Because of course we've been having just red candles for the past week, and even now for this Monday as well. So that's 6 trading days that were red. Let me remove these real quick. So even if we end the day off around or even under the 26-cent range, right, we should be able to get a green candle tomorrow, and we will get at least one green candle before we fall further, or else we won't probably be able to break the 26-cent level if we don't get that, right? So in order for my analysis to turn out correct, we have to get a green candle either today or tomorrow, or even at least before Thursday, right? So if we get a green candle before Thursday, then we probably will be able to continue with a small breather over here. And if we are unable to get back to these levels of 32, 33 cents, then we'll most likely crash further and get to the levels that I already told you, around 25, 24 cents. And that probably should be a good time to buy the stock, right? I did see some people say that the stock is headed towards 15 cents, which let's consider the possibility, right? If we even look at the 1-week chart, let me pull it out real quick, right? Even if we look at the 1-week chart, we can see that sure, the stock might have performed really badly But I personally see that it's kind of squeezing in on this range over here after getting the spin bar on the lower side. And now, if we look at the current price action, if we get a green candle over here and we probably get back to this range, we should be able to make a declining pattern over here, right? So once that is done, we'll probably, get out of this triangle. And I personally would want it to be bullish, of course, right? But it does not seem like it would be bullish. If you ask me, it looks like it will probably be bearish, and we might just get back to these levels around 20, right? 23, 20 cents. And I still don't really believe that the stock can get down to 15 cents, right? But then there are, of course, other speculations as well that, oh, hey, people were saying the same thing about the stock last year and still got to this point. But, well, that's a completely different story, right? In my opinion, David Michery has changed as a person as well a lot over this time. So he should be able to at least flip things over a bit. And that probably should prevent the stock from going down to the levels of 15 cents, 10 cents, or some, level like that. But of course, if we want to analyze the stock in detail, we'll quickly have to jump on into the 1 hour chart. So let's do it. So as you guys can see right here, we're now in the 1 hour chart for MULN. And it seems that we're in for a bad time, right? We can see that we're pretty much continuing this trend that we made. So I would probably expect the stock to go down over here around 26 again, and then, kind of pick up the pace over here and get back into this range of around 26. Probably we'll end the day itself around, well, even lower than 26, probably in the 25.5-cent range. So this would be my prediction for the day now. Of course, things have changed, right? It's not like, well, it is like my analysis in the last session, of course, failed because I should have taken this pattern that we were building into consideration as well as the spin bar candle and the spin bar pattern. So, well, that's a loss for me, and we all make mistakes, so it's not that big of a deal. But in the end, what matters is, will MULN go back up? If you ask me, we probably should at least get a few short squeezes before we, you know, what do you call it? Before we get deflated. But in general, I do think that the stock probably won't be able to get to levels like $10 or $20, but it most definitely, as I already told you in my previous videos, can get to a price of, well, let me zoom out real quick, of probably $2, right? So $2 is a realistic target, and that's probably why I'm aiming to buy the stock around the 20-cent range, because then I would probably be aiming for 9 or 10x returns, and that, in my opinion, is pretty good. And even if I lose all of my money trying to chase that, it probably wouldn't be that big of a deal, or at least that bad of a trade. But now I think it's the right time to jump on into the 5-minute chart so we can even see the pre-market movements as well as predict what's going to happen today. So now that we're in the 5-minute chart, we can see that we did not even get a gap up to begin with. Our first candle over here in the pre-market itself was a gap down. And even though it was not that big of a gap down, it was not that significant, but we still got one. And then we got somewhat of a bullish trend over here. After which, of course, we can see that we've been making a range with a resistance over here. The resistance stands around $26.9 pretty much, or rather cents. I'm sorry for that, 26.9 cents. And we kind of squeezed into this. So as a result, we saw this really bad candle, and well, there you go. As I already told you guys a long time ago, the stock would probably fall below the $26 range, or rather 26 cents. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting. And this is bad. We're getting down to 25.5 cents. Will we hit 25 cents today? Well, who knows, right? We might as well hit that. But as I already told you, according to the trend that we're making, we should probably go down, take support, get neutralized in somewhere around the mid market, right? And then probably around the end of the market, we should kind of get back up over here. So we'll probably end the day around 26 cents or a bit lower than that, probably under 26 cents, right? Who knows? But my guess probably would be the 26-cent range. So let's see where the day goes. But as I already told you, this is probably how the pattern will play out. We'll probably get a sideways market around the mid market. And of course, this time, right, the first few hours of the market are usually volatile and it will stay this way until 10:30 or 11, I believe. And then we'll, of course, if we look at the volume over here as well, 265,000 shares traded over here. and buying volumes are pretty dry as compared to the selling volumes. Of course, we have 261,000 shares over here on this 5-minute candle, so that signifies like I believe 70 or $80,000 worth of trades, or yeah, that's pretty much it. So of course, if we look at the day's volume as well, it will probably be around, I guess, $500,000 until now, and it will probably end around a few $1 million. But of course, as we can look over here in the previous charts, we're starting to get lower and lower volumes. And this, today we're just getting better volumes than we got yesterday. And I hope that this volume situation at least improves because we will need that if we want to day trade the stock or even swing trade for that matter. And ending notes, I personally am a fan of MULN, right? I do think that it has some potential to squeeze out on, and I do believe that you can benefit from it if you trade smartly. And at the same time, I also believe that it is short-term bearish, and at the same time, it is long-term bullish. So, of course, I am bullish on the stock in long term, as I already told you. But then again, remember that this most definitely is not financial advice, and you should always do your own research before you trade. If, however, you enjoyed my analysis, be sure to hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, be sure to hit the dislike button. You can subscribe to our channel Stocks 101 for more such videos. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.